Unbelievable. Unbelievable. 5626 1642. Can I have your number, please, officer? 5610. How do you feel after that? How do you feel after that, eh? You mean to tell me you came out of the house this morning to drag an 85-year-old woman across the road? Seriously, Sergeant, you condone this? You condone dragging 85-year-old women across the road? How does that make you feel, 5626? You're not ashamed, because you should be. Well, can't look at me. Can't look at the camera. An 85-year-old woman you just dragged over there with her feet hanging on the floor. And your sergeant condones that. Well done, Sarge. Smiler. Is it really necessary, Inspector Riley, to shut the road? Well, to stop the traffic off. And is it really necessary to drag an 85-year-old woman over? Inspector Riley, I thought better of you than that. Inspector Riley, I heard you down for a bit more than that. To give the order to drag an 85-year-old woman across the road. An 85-year-old counsellor woman across the road. We've asked. So there's no way that you could have an officer on her legs lifting her legs up.
You will next time, yeah.
You will next time. You will next time you drag the 85-year-old, yeah. So why didn't you this time?
Yeah.
So what if her feet are already hurt?
Yeah. 2 officers just followed watching that.
So I was told to peacefully remove... So I was told that basically to remove protesters peacefully and in a humane manner, they should have been lifted at both ends. Now, an 85-year-old woman, why would you drag her across the road?
I'll feed that back in.
I wish you would, yeah.
The time I was obviously concentrating on that.
Why would the evidence go?
Why was she not lifted by the feet? To remove people in a humane manner, you should have actually grabbed hold of her feet as well, instead of dragging her across the road like a piece of meat. Yeah, the two officers who were following, they should be ashamed of themselves for not even picking her feet up.
Absolutely.
That's one of the most disgusting things I've seen here, and
It's crazy, isn't it? Absolutely, yeah. And you know what they said to me when I asked him, why didn't you pick her feet up? He said, we will next time. Absolutely. How are you feeling, Annie? You okay?
Just
Yeah.
But the vehicle, there was no warning whatsoever that that huge vehicle was coming into the gates. I wasn't aware, particularly if it was in gates. I was part of a protest looking the other way. And suddenly there's a vehicle up there moving, those inches from me, but it was still moving. It seemed to have no idea that I couldn't see it, didn't know it was coming.
So did you get offered any protection at that point by these guys that are here to facilitate peaceful protests?
No,
because
they weren't even
a lorry
there.
driving at you is not peaceful, is it?
Well, they weren't even there.
No.
There were no police within earshot or sight or sound of me.
Okay.
The police had not been here. They were all having their coffees and their long lunch hours up in the vans there, occupying the countryside and occupying our incomes, sat up there all day long in their vans. There were no police here at all. There had been 3 blue shirts, whatever they're called, up there, and I'd been talking to them, trying to get a sensible answer out of them, which of course I didn't. So I left and went over here, and they, I think, left. But there was nobody here when this huge vehicle tried to go into the gates. And I couldn't believe, I still cannot, I'm not in shock. I just mentally cannot believe that this vehicle kept driving when it saw an old person not looking at it with a wheel, with a walking stick. And then I realised the guy alongside me, I hadn't known he was alongside me, he was being pushed. This vehicle was on his chest and he was being pushed back because this vehicle wasn't stopping.
No.
Whatever happened, this vehicle was not going to stop.
And have you read that article that was out? It was in the Blackpool Gazette.
No.
The use of force. Somebody did I think one of the Kirby guys did a Freedom of Information Act on the powers that the cops have been given, and they're told not to stop. They're told not to. You know, they can act. I can't remember the force this specific force that they're allowed to use. So if for any point, I mean, I know, because I've been up and down this road for months now, that these lorries aren't stopping, and I believe genuinely these lorries have been told not to stop.
Yeah.
They can go under any circumstances, and we're seen as collateral damage.
Yes. Yes, I believe that too.
And from the way they just dragged you over there, Anne,
Yes.
I just spoke to the inspector. I said to him, why, for a humane way to remove peaceful people, you should have an officer on each, like on your feet.
Yes.
And lifting under your arms. And you know what his answer was to me? Oh, well, we'll do that next time. So, you know, I mean, he did say that he was over there and out the way when it happened, but whoever gave that order to drag you across the road like that, that's quite worrying. It really is, you know? It really is.
Well, I've never experienced that before. I've never let myself be in that position, but once I was, I obviously was just going to go with it and see what they did to me.
But interestingly enough, if you look over there now, the rest of the people that was sat over there with you are still over there.
Yeah.
Now, nobody else was dragged across, only yourself.
No, there was one woman dragged
Was they?
across, actually, yes.
Okay.
But she's a rather vociferous type protector.
Yeah. Well, no. Sorry. Yeah. There was two of you then, but the rest of them were laid there. So who gave the order for that? It's just a ridiculous policing again.
Yes.
Which is not
It's ad
surprising.
hoc, isn't it? It's just as somebody gets it into his head and gets somebody else to help him, and
Yeah.
they do it.
Yeah. And two cops, interestingly, they just walked across with you at the front of you. Instead of picking your feet up, they walked across with you.
Dragged it, but the shoes nearly came
And they
off.
couldn't look at me when I asked them why.
Yeah.
But you all right, yeah?
Yes, thanks. I'm really glad I made a statement, you know, a physical statement. I want to do a lot more.
Thanks, Anne.